Were you ever taught what fascists actually believe? Because I wasn't. I mean, I was taught they were anti-Semitic and bigoted, but first of all, never really why. It was never explained to me why they were, and it was never explained to me what their economic or other social policies were. And so I had to learn myself, and I've spent a really long time trying to understand what fascists believe and why. Not because I want to be one, but because I want to be armed with the knowledge to recognize one and undermine them. Because it is becoming more and more evident every time I call Trump a fascist, every time I recognize that white supremacy is on the rise in America. People go, you don't know what those terms mean. And then demonstrate to me that they don't. For example, the primary economic aim of fascist Germany, fascist Italy, and fascist Spain was autarky. It was the belief that they should be able to produce anything at home themselves because they knew they were going to go to war. Does that sound familiar? Their labeled primary enemy was Jewish people, but also specifically what they labeled the Jewish ideology of Marxism. And they labeled transgender ideology, homosexuals, and a lot of other indecency as Marxist thought, and that was the banner under which they persecuted them. Does that sound familiar? They demonized racial and ethnic minorities and immigrants, not just because they thought they were inferior. Who cares if people are inferior? They thought they were poisoning the other superior people. They thought they were replacing them and making their country weak. Does that sound familiar? And these points are not gotcha points, right? Autarky is not unique of fascism. It certainly is a policy of fascism, but it was also existent in burgeoning socialist republics because they didn't want to engage in the global society. And they don't work in isolation. But if people were actually taught from a young age what fascism looked like in its totality, why autarky related to bigotry, related to anti-immigrant sentiment, related to hatred of racial, ethnic, and gender minorities, they would recognize that the reason Trump is a fascist is because every single thing he is doing is in line with that ideology. Not just his bigotry, not just his hatred of immigrants, not just his foreign policy, but collectively, along with the rhetoric, you have to learn what a fascist looks like to be able to recognize them. And then the second you do, it becomes super clear.